Hello everyone, it's Glenda and welcome back to my channel, Creative Grandma. Today's crochet tutorial is for this adorable heart dish scrubby. This is made using the Yarn Bee Scrubology Scrub It yarn. This scrubby measures 4.5 inches from top to bottom and 6 inches from side to side. Now this is a crochet stitch. It's the Tunisian knit stitch, but it's actually crocheted. So this is the front, and when you turn it over, the back is just a straight pattern without the heart. Now you can do the front and make two fronts and have the heart on both sides. It's all up to you, but I just thought it was easier to put a plain back on it. So very pretty. Now this is a pretty thick dish scrubby. It's nice and big for some of those bigger projects. And you can use any of the many beautiful colors they have in the Scrubology Scrub It yarn. So I made a red one, I made a blue one, I made a yellow one, and for today's crochet tutorial, I am going to make a pink one. For the yarn, this is sold at Hobby Lobby, and if you go on the 30% off week, you can get your yarn at 30% off. It's $4.99 a skein. Now this is classified as a number 5 bulky weight yarn. It's 100% nylon. It's 3.0 ounces, 85 grams, 79 yards, and 73 meters. So the color I'm using today is bright pink, but again, you can use many of the other colors available. And for my background color, I am using white. Now, I thought I had an extra skein of white, and I was having so much fun making these that I used up all my white. So I have a couple little balls left, so I'll be trying to make my last scrubby with the little bit of yarn I have left over. What you want to do before you begin your project is take your skein of white and you want to put it in 2 separate balls. Just wrap that skein and make 2 balls out of 1 skein. We're going to use 1 ball for the back, and then when we work the front, we're going to use 2 balls together with the color in between. So you will be working with 3 different colors. It's very, very easy, and I'm going to walk you step by step through making this whole entire front piece. So you're going to need 1 skein of white separated into 2 balls, and then you're going to need 1 skein of the color of your choice for your heart. You're also going to need an Afghan crochet hook. Now, mine is 14 inches long, but if you have a 10-inch one, that would be probably better. I just didn't have a 10-inch hook. So you're going to need a US size 10.5K or 6.5 millimeter Afghan hook. And then for our border, we're going to go down to a size I9 or 5.5 millimeter crochet hook to add our 2 pieces together and to put our border on. So grab your yarn, grab your hooks, and let's get our dish scrubby started. To begin our project, I am using my Afghan hook. Now mine is 14 inches long. It's kind of too long for this project, so if you have a 10-inch one, go ahead and use a 10-inch one. So we're going to start, and I'm going to tie a double knot around my Afghan hook. Now this is how my gram taught me when I was little, and this is just how I do it. I tie 1 knot, and then I just tie a 2nd knot. That is what I mean when I say I attached my yarn with a double knot. Now you can use any method you prefer to join your yarn to your hook. So we're going to begin, and we're going to chain 15. Now the loop on your hook never counts as a chain. We're going to yarn over, pull through the loop on our hook, and this creates our first chain. The loop is not a chain. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. Now we're ready to begin row 1. Now for row 1, we're going to be working in the back bumps. So when you turn your chain over to the wrong side, you're going to see this loop right in the center of the chain. It sticks up a little bit. This is your back bump. That's what we're going to work in each chain. So again, the loop on your hook does not count as a chain, so we're skipping the loop on our hook. We are skipping the next chain and we're going to the next chain. So that is the second chain from hook. You're going to flip your chain over and you're going to go into the back bump, that center strand of yarn. Now, the first stitch might be a little harder to get into. Insert into that back bump, then yarn over and pull back through. You're going to keep the loop on your hook. Now with this scrubby yarn, it is kind of firm and stiff, so it may be a little stiff to work with. You're going to go to your next chain, flip your chain over and insert into that next back bump of that chain. Yarn over and pull back through. You're keeping your loop on your hook. Go to the next chain, flip that chain over, insert into the back bump, that center strand, yarn over and pull back through. And we're just going to continue in this method all the way to the end of the chain. Go to your next chain, flip the chain over, insert into that back bump, into that center strand, yarn over and pull through. And the reason we want to work in the back bump is when we join our two pieces together, you can see the top of the stitches so clearly when you do it this way. So that's why I like to work in the back bump. Go to the next chain, flip your chain over, insert into that back bump, yarn over and pull through. So let's do it one more time together. Go to the next chain, flip your chain over, insert into that back bump, yarn over and pull through, keeping your loop on the hook. So go ahead and continue across and I'll meet you at the last chain and show you how to do that last chain because it can be tricky. I'm over at the last chain of row 1 and sometimes this last chain can give you a little bit of trouble. So when you flip that over, sometimes that center strand is not sticking up. It's kind of like down in there. So you have to kind of insert your hook down through, use the hook part of your crochet hook and come back through and grab that center strand of yarn, yarn over and pull through. And again, that last chain sometimes can be really tight. So with Tunisian crochet, with this pattern, when you chain 15, you should have 15 loops on your hook. So there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15 loops on my hook. So now we're going to take all of our loops off the hook. You're going to yarn over and you want to pull through one loop only when you start the return pass. Then we're going to yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and we're going to continue yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, until we have all loops off our hook and 1 loop remains. Yarn over, pull through 2 loops, 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 yarn over, pull through 2 loops. We have 2 loops left on our hook. You're going to yarn over and pull through both loops on your hook. You have 1 loop remaining and this loop counts as the first stitch of the next row. So now we're ready to begin row 2. Now the loop on your hook will count as your first stitch. It'll be the first vertical stitch. So with the Tunisian knit stitch, you're going to see that you have the next vertical loop and it goes up and it goes over these 2 strands right here. So I'm going to take my crochet hook out and I'm going to show you, here is the next vertical stitch. So you want to make sure that you're inserting your hook underneath the front vertical stitch, but you want to make sure you're going through that loop underneath these 2 strands of yarn. If you miss that and you go over here or you go up in here, you're not going to get the look of the knit stitch. You must insert your hook in between the front and the back loop of this horseshoe and stay underneath these 2 loops. So we're going to skip that first vertical stitch, go to the next vertical stitch, insert under the front loop, and you're going see that loop go up and over, and make sure you go right through the center at the base, take your hook all the way to the back, yarn over, and pull back through. And this opens up the stitch, and you can see how it makes it look knit. You're going to leave that loop on your hook. Go to the next vertical stitch. Again, you may have to use your fingers. You want to make sure that you're going underneath those two horizontal loops. Insert, look at the loop, and make sure you're going at the base between the top of that loop and the bottom. Insert to the back, yarn over, and pull through, keeping that loop on your hook. So go to your next vertical stitch. You want to make sure that you're going right at the base, follow that loop up, and you're going right between the top and the bottom of that loop underneath these two strands. Insert from front to back, yarn over, and pull through. Let's do it one more time. You're going to go to your next vertical stitch, use your fingers and your hook, open that up. You want to go underneath these two horizontal strands, and you want to go right between that top and the bottom of this next vertical stitch that forms the horseshoe up and over those two stitches. Insert into the base, out through the back, yarn over, and pull through. Let's do it one more time. Go to your next vertical stitch, insert underneath that next vertical stitch, but make sure that you're going right at the base in the center, and follow that loop up and make sure you're going right in the middle of that loop at the base, yarn over, and pull through, and keep that loop on your hook. Continue across until you have one vertical stitch remaining, and I'll meet you at the end of row 2 at the last vertical stitch. So I'm over at my last stitch. You have one vertical stitch remaining. So to do the last stitch, we want to go in both of these loops on the edge. You want to go underneath that last vertical stitch and right into the next stitch below that stitch. So you're going under 2 loops, yarn over, and pull through. So when you look at your work, again, you should have a total of 15 loops on your hook. So now our return pass is always going to be worked in the same manner. You're going to yarn over and pull through 1 loop on your hook when you start the return pass. Then you're going to yarn over, pull through 2 loops, 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 and we're going to continue and yarn over and pull through 2 loops until we have 1 loop remaining on our hook. So I have 2 loops on my hook. You're going to yarn over, pull through those last 2 loops, and then you end up with 1 loop on your hook. So now for this pattern, we're just going to repeat row 2 for the pattern for the back of our scrubby. So let's go ahead and repeat row 2 again. So now we're ready to begin row 3, and row 3 we're going to work the same as row 2. So row 2, you're going to see this a little bit better since your first knit stitch row is done. So again, this loop on your hook counts as the first vertical stitch. You're going to go to the next vertical stitch. You're going to insert under that vertical stitch, but you want to make sure you're right in between that top and back loop underneath these 2 strands. Insert from front all the way to the back, yarn over, and pull back through, and then just pull up a little bit, and you're going to keep that loop on your hook, and you can see how it opens that up and makes it look like a knit stitch. Go to your next vertical stitch. Again, you're going between the top vertical stitch and the back of that stitch. You're going right in between, you're going right at the base of that loop underneath these 2 horizontal strands. Insert from front all the way to the back, yarn over, and pull through. Keep that loop on your hook. Now this is going to want to turn up. That's normal for Tunisian stitch, but when we put the 2 pieces together and put the border, it's going to pull this back. So don't worry about that turning up. Go to your next vertical stitch. You're going to go at the base of that stitch and go right between the top, and you're going right between that horseshoe shape right at the base. Insert from front to back, yarn over and pull back through, keeping your loop on the hook. Go to your next vertical stitch. Again, you want to go to the base of that stitch. You want to go right underneath that vertical stitch, and again, it goes up and over. You want to go right in the center at the base, going underneath the vertical stitch all the way to the back, yarn over and pull through. So go ahead and continue across until you get to that last vertical stitch, and I'll meet you there. I'm over at the end of row 3, and you have 1 vertical stitch remaining. So to finish the row, you want to make sure you're getting under this vertical stitch and the strand right behind. You're going to insert under the vertical strand and right into the strand of yarn behind that, and make sure you have 2 loops, yarn over and pull through those 2 loops. And what this does is it gives you that teardrop shape so you can find your stitches easier when you're putting these 2 pieces together. So now we're going to do our return pass, and our return pass is done the same. You're going to yarn over and pull through 1 loop only when you first start. Then you're going to yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and continue yarning over and pulling through 2 loops until you have only 1 loop remaining on your hook. So I'm just going to go ahead and work across. And again, this yarn is a little stiff, so you may find it a little stiff to work with. 2 loops left, yarn over, pull through those 2 loops, and then you have 1 loop remaining, which counts as the first loop of the next row. Now, if you're not sure how to count your rows, if you turn your work to the side, you can count your rows. You'll see those teardrops. So we did 3 rows. You're going to see 1, 2, 3. To continue working on the back of your scrubby, repeat row 2 8 more times until you have a total of 11 rows. So go ahead and continue and repeat row 2 8 more times until you have a total of 11 rows, and I'll meet you at the end of row 11. I am over at the end of row 11, and yes, your work is going to want to roll up. It's going to be very stiff, and again, this will all be corrected when we join it together because we're going to work the border and it's going to pull this back. Now, we still have 1 finishing row to go because we want to finish this off so the top looks the same as the sides and the bottom. You want that teardrop shape so you can see your stitches. Now, when we work this last row, when we take these loops off, you're going to lose 1 stitch. It's going to create that teardrop over the first and second stitch. So you're only going to have 14 stitches across the top. So let's go ahead and begin row 12. This is called our slip stitch row. Again, the first loop counts as the first stitch. So I'm going to pull it up just a little bit. You're going to work it just like the knit stitch, only we're going to take our loop off the hook. You're going to go to your next vertical bar. You want to insert just like you did when you're working the knit stitch. Follow that up the horseshoe and then insert right at the base underneath that next vertical stitch. You're going to yarn over, pull through that stitch, and then pull through the loop on your hook. And then this is where I'm saying you're going to lose that stitch because this goes over the first 2 vertical stitches. Then you're going to do the same thing across each remaining stitch. So go to your next vertical stitch. You're going to insert right at the base of that loop of that vertical stitch all the way to the back, yarn over, pull back through, and then pull through the loop on your hook. So I'm just going to pull this up a little bit because I want to be able to see that next stitch. So go to your next vertical stitch, just use your fingers and make sure you're going right at the base, follow that horseshoe shape and go right into the base under that next vertical stitch all the way to the back, yarn over, pull through that stitch, and then you want to pull through the loop on your hook. Go to your next vertical stitch. Again, I like to use my hook and my finger. Go to the base of that vertical stitch, right, follow the horseshoe, insert into that space underneath that vertical stitch, and then yarn over, pull through that stitch, and then pull through the loop on your hook. Go to your next vertical stitch. Again, you're going to work it just like the knit stitch. You're going between the top of that vertical stitch and the back of that stitch all the way to the back. Insert your hook, yarn over, pull through that stitch, pull up a little bit, and then pull through the loop on your hook. Let's do it one more time together. Go to your next vertical stitch. Again, use your fingers. Follow that horseshoe shape, insert right at the base of that next vertical stitch, insert all the way to the back, yarn over, pull back through, and then pull through the loop on your hook. Continue working in that manner across until you have one vertical stitch remaining, and I'll meet you at the last stitch. So I'm over at the last vertical stitch of row 12. You want to insert just underneath that vertical stitch, and then you want to go into the loop directly below it. So you have two loops, yarn over, pull through both those two loops, and then through the loop on your hook. You want to fasten off your yarn, and then you're just going to yarn over and pull through that loop, and then pull up and pull tight. So again, your work is going to want to roll up in a ball, but when you're all finished, it's going to have this very flat look, because again, we are going to place these two pieces together, and when you put your border on, it's going to pull this back, and then it has that nice flat look. So the back of our scrubby is finished. Now I'm going to show you how to make the front, where you can incorporate this heart into the front of your scrubby. Now, to begin the front of our scrubby, I didn't want to record again what we already done. So all you have to do to start the front of your scrubby is go back to the beginning of the video. You're going to chain 15, and you're going to follow the instructions for the scrubby back until you have the first 2 rows made. So again, to start the front of your scrubby, click back on the video, chain 15, and then work row 1 and 2 of the back scrubby, and then come back and we'll begin row 3 of the front of our scrubby, where we're going to be changing colors. So now we are ready to begin row 3 of the front of our scrubby. If you click back and follow the video, you should have worked a chain 15 and worked row 1 and 2 of the back scrubby. Now, to continue working the front of this scrubby, you have to make sure that you have your second ball of white yarn, because we're going to be having 3 colors attached at the same time. You're going to have your main ball for what you already done. You need to have a second ball for the left side, and you're going to have the color that you want your heart. So to begin row 3, we're going to be working 1 knit stitch in each of the next 6 stitches. So this is the first stitch. We're going to insert into the next stitch under the vertical strand and work our knit stitch. That's 1 of 6. Keeping the loop on your hook. Into the next stitch, work a knit stitch. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So we have 7 loops on our hook. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the next stitch is the center stitch. So we're going to insert into that center stitch and work it clear to the back. And then what I do is I flip my work over, and then I just tie a knot and attach my yarn. And I always tie a double knot just to be safe. And then you want to slide your color of the heart all the way down to your work, all the way down till it's touching your work. You're just going to let that white hang behind your work, and then you want to grab the pink, and you're just going to yarn over with the pink and pull through that stitch. Then you're going to insert into the next stitch, and you're working the knit stitch, so we're working it the same as we've done all the stitches. You're going to drop the pink, pick up the white, yarn over and pull the white color through, and keep your loop on the hook. And then you're just going to finish the row with your knit stitches. insert into the next vertical stitch, making sure you're going at the base all the way to the back, and work your knit stitch. And you're just going to continue making that knit stitch all the way over until you have one stitch remaining. When you get to the last stitch, again, you do it differently. You're going to go under the vertical strand and then into the strand right below on the edge. You have 2 strands of yarn, yarn over and pull through both of those strands of yarn. So again, when you look at your work, you're going to have 7 white loops, 1 pink loop, and then 7 white loops. So now we're going to take the loops off our hook. We're going to yarn over, pull through 1 loop only when you first start, then yarn over, pull through 2 loops, 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 and then you notice we have 1 more white loop, so we're going to yarn over and pull through both of those loops. So now we're over at the pink loop, so you want to drop your white, you want to pick up the pink, yarn over with the pink, and then pull through that pink loop. Now the next loop is white, so now you have to drop the pink, pick up the white, and then we're going to finish taking off our loops with the white. Yarn over, pull through that pink loop, and then pull through the white loop. Yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and continue yarning over and pulling through 2 loops until 1 loop remains on the hook. And then I always like to just pull that a little bit so there's not a big gap in that, so you keep your stitches nice and even. So at least now you know where the center point of your heart is going to be at the bottom. So now we're ready to begin row 4, but before we begin, I want to show you in the written instructions, there's going to be a chart, and this just outlines where you're going to change colors. So we did the first 2 rows, so the plain white boxes are your crochet stitches. We made 15 stitches across, and we did 2 solid rows. Then we did row 3, where you have 7 white stitches, 1 pink stitch, and 7 white stitches. Now we're up here on row 4, and we're going to make 6 white stitches, 3 pink stitches, and 6 white stitches. And we're just going to follow this chart to finish our scrubby. So for row 4, the loop on our hook counts as that first stitch. Then we're going to go over to the next stitch, and because you should know how to do the knit stitch by now, you're going to work 5 more knit stitches across, leaving the loop on the hook. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So you should have a total of 6 loops, 2, 4, and 6. Now we're going to work 3 pink stitches. So you're going to insert into the next stitch to make your knit stitch, making sure you go clear to the back. You're going to drop your white, pick up your pink. You're going to yarn over and pull through that white loop. Then you're going to insert under the next vertical stitch, which is the pink stitch, making sure that you go underneath those top horizontal strands, pull through, and keep your loop on the hook. Insert into the next stitch, working your knit stitch, yarn over, pull back through, keeping your loop on the hook. So now we have our 3 pink stitches made. So I'm going to attach my second ball of white. So I'm just going to lay my work down, grab your second ball of white, and I'm just going to tie a double knot around this strand, 1 and 2, and then I'm just going to pull it all the way down to the edge of my work. Then you're going to pick up the white on the left side. You're going to insert into the next vertical stitch, work your knit stitch, leaving that loop on the hook. Insert into the next stitch, Work your knit stitch, leaving the last loop on the hook, and we're going to continue working across until you get to the last vertical stitch. When you get to the last vertical stitch, again, you're going to go under that vertical stitch at the edge, and then you want to go right into the strand underneath and behind that on the edge, and then yarn over and pull through both of those strands of yarn. So again, when you look at your work, you should have 6 white loops, 3 pink loops, and 6 white loops. Now we're going to remove our loops and we're going to match colors as we go across. You're going to yarn over and pull through 1 loop only when you start, then yarn over, pull through 2 loops through the white, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, and pull through 2 loops. Now you'll notice we're over at our pink loop, so you're going to drop the white, pick up the pink, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, and pull through 2 loops. Now we're over at our white loops, so you're going to drop the pink, pick up the white on the right hand side of your work, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and we're going to yarn over and pull through 2 loops until only 1 loop remains on the hook. So row 4 is finished, and yes, again, it wants to curl up on you. You just have to use your fingers and just keep pushing it down. So now we're ready to begin row 5. For row 5, when you look at the chart, you're going to have 5 white stitches, 5 pink stitches, and 5 white stitches. Now remember, when you're following this chart, that the first stitch is already on your hook. The last loop on your hook counts as the first stitch of the next row. So let's go ahead and begin row 5. We're going to work 1 knit stitch in the next 4 vertical stitches. Insert into the next vertical stitch, work your knit stitch, leaving that loop on your hook. And we're going to work 4 stitches, so that's 1 of 4. Knit stitch into the next vertical stitch, leaving your loop on your hook, that's 2. Into the next stitch, that's 3. And then into the next stitch, and that's 4. So you should have a total of 5 white loops on your hook. Now we're going to work 5 knit stitches in the pink, so you're going to drop your white, pick up your pink, and sometimes I just like to pull this a little bit tighter so it isn't too loose. You're going to insert into the next white vertical stitch, work a knit stitch using the pink, yarn over, and pull back through. Insert into the next vertical stitch, yarn over, pull back through, and you're leaving your loops on the hook. Knit stitch into the next stitch, knit stitch into the next stitch, and then you're going to knit stitch into the next white stitch. Insert into that next vertical stitch, yarn over with the pink, pull back through. So you should have 5 pink loops on your hook. Then you're going to drop your pink, pick up your white, and then we're going to finish the row using the white. Insert into the next stitch, work your knit stitch, and we're leaving our loops on the hook. Knit stitch into the next vertical stitch, knit stitch into the next vertical stitch, knit stitch into the next vertical stitch, and then we're over at our edge stitch. So again, you're going to go under the last vertical strand and right into the strand below, and then yarn over and pull through both strands of yarn. So again, when you look at your work, you're going to have 5 white, 5 pink, and 5 white loops. Then we're going to do our return pass, yarn over, pull through 1 loop only, and we're just matching colors across. Yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, and pull through 2 loops. Now you'll notice we're at the pink, so when you come to the next color, you're going to drop the white, you're going to pick up the pink, you're going to yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and we're just going to go across until we do all the pink loops. So now we're over at our next white loop, so we're going to drop the pink, pick up the white strand on the right hand side, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and we're just going to finish working across until you have 1 loop on your hook. So row 5 is finished. Now we're ready to begin row 6. For row 6, we're going to work 4 white stitches, 7 pink stitches, and then 4 white stitches. So let's go ahead and begin row 6. Again, the loop on your hook counts as the first stitch. That's 1 of 4. Knit stitch into the next stitch. That's 2. Knit stitch into the next stitch. That's 3. And then knit stitch into the next stitch. And that's 4. Now we're going to work 7 pink knit stitches. So you're going to drop your white, you're going to insert into the next vertical stitch, you're going to pick up your pink, and when I pick up my pink, I just pull it ever so slightly because I don't want that real loose right there. Then I yarn over and pull through. That's 1 of 7. Using the pink, work a knit stitch in the next 6 stitches. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and if you see this is too loose, pull on the white before you go into the next stitch. Just tighten that up a little bit. Then you're going to insert into that next white vertical stitch and then yarn over with the pink, and that gives us our 7 pink stitches. Then we're going to finish with the white. So you're going to drop the pink, and then you're going to pick up the white on the left side and finish the row using the white. Knit stitch into the next stitch. That's 1. Knit stitch into the next stitch. That's 2. Knit stitch into the next stitch. That's 3. And then you're over at your edge stitch, insert into the last vertical stitch and into the strand behind, and then yarn over and pull through 2 strands. So again, for round 6, you're going to have 4 white loops, 7 pink, and 4 white. Now we're going to do our return pass. You're going to use your white, yarn over, pull through 1 loop only, then yarn over and pull through 2 loops, and we're just matching colors. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, and pull through 2. So now we're at our pink, so you're going to drop your white, pick up your pink, yarn over, and pull through 2 loops, and you continue until you pull through all the pink loops. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and now we're over to our white loop. So we're going to drop the pink, pick up the white on the right hand side, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and finish the row until you only have 1 loop on your hook. So again, for row 6, you're going to have 4 white stitches, 7 pink, and 4 white. Now we're ready to begin row 7. So now we're ready to begin row 7. So we're up here. We're going to have 3 white stitches, 9 pink stitches, and 3 white stitches. So let's go ahead and begin row 7. So for row 7, this is the first of the 3 white stitches. You're going to knit stitch into the next stitch. That's 2. Knit stitch into the next stitch. And that's 3. And again, for our first pass, we're keeping all the loops on our hook. Now we're going to drop the white, pick up your pink, and again, if this stretches open, then just pull it a little bit tighter. You're going to go into the white vertical stitch, work your knit stitch, but you're going to pick up your pink and pull through with the pink. That is 1 of 9. Now we're going to work 8 more pink knit stitches. Insert into the next stitch, work your knit stitch, leaving the loop on your hook. So now I'm just going to count. That's 2 of 9, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then again I look at my work, and if this stretches too far I just pull on that white a little bit and tighten that up before I do my next pink stitch. So we need to do one more pink, insert into that next stitch, and then with your pink, yarn over, pull through, and keep your loop on the hook. And then we're going to end with 3 white stitches. So you're going to drop your pink, pick up your white on the left side, and with the white, work 2 more knit stitches. 1 and 2. So then we have 1 stitch left, so we're going to insert our hook under this top vertical stitch and into this strand of yarn below that vertical stitch right here on the back side. Insert into that last vertical stitch into the strand below, yarn over, and pull through both of those strands of yarn. So again, what I like to do is I always like to check my stitches. You should have 3 white, 9 pink, and 3 white. Now we're going to remove our stitches in our return pass, and we're matching our colors. So you're going to yarn over, pull through 1 loop only to start. Then yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, and pull through 2 loops. So now our next loop is pink, so then you want to drop the white, pick up the pink, and then work over to the next white loop. So you're going to yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and just continue over until you get to that next white loop. So I'm over at my next white loop, so you're going to drop your pink, pick up your white on the right hand side, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, and pull through 2 loops. Row 7 is finished, and yes, it wants to roll. It's very stiff and it rolls. So if you just pull it down with your hand, you're going to see that you can see your heart shape starting to form. So now we're ready to do row 8. So for row 8, when you look at the chart, you're going to have 3 white stitches, 4 pink stitches, 1 white stitch, 4 pink stitches, and end with 3 white stitches. So let's go ahead and begin row 8. To begin row 8, we want to have 3 white stitches. So again, that loop on our hook counts as the first stitch. Insert into the next vertical stitch, work a knit stitch with the white, and then into the next stitch, work a knit stitch with the white. Now we want to have 4 pink stitches. So we're going to drop our white, you're going to pick up your pink, insert into the next stitch, work a knit stitch with the pink. That's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now we need to put a white stitch right into the center of our heart. Now, because I don't care what the back looks like, because we're not going to see the back, I'm not going to join another little ball of white for just 4 stitches. Now, if I was making this with acrylic yarn and I was making a block, then yes, I would change colors so you could not see the colors on the back. This would not have gone across here. I would have stopped here. So if you're using an acrylic and you just want to follow this to make heart blocks for a blanket, then put separate balls of yarn. So we're going to drop the pink, we're going to grab the white, and you just want to lay it across your work. Don't pull it too tight, don't keep it too loose. Insert into the next stitch. So just have it laying across the back, yarn over, and pull through with the white. So then we're going to drop the white, pick the pink back up, and then work 4 pink stitches. Into the next vertical stitch, yarn over with the pink, and pull through. That is 1 of 4. Into the next stitch, that's 2, 3, and 4. And then I always look at my work to make sure this isn't real loose. If it is, then I just tug a little bit and tighten it up. Then we're going to drop the pink, pick up the white on the left side, insert into the next vertical stitch, and with the white, work your knit stitch. Then knit stitch into the next stitch with the white, and then you're over at your edge stitch. So you're going to go into the last vertical stitch, and the strand of yarn behind or underneath, right here to the back, insert into the front vertical stitch, into that strand of yarn underneath and to the back, yarn over and pull through 2 loops. So again, you should have 3 white, 4 pink, 1 white, 4 pink, and 3 white. Now we're going to do our return pass and match our colors as we take our loops off our hook. You're going to yarn over and pull through 1 loop only. Then yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, and pull through 2 loops. We are over at our pink, so we're going to drop the white, pick up the pink, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and we're going to continue working across until we get to a different color, and that is the white loop in the center. So then we're going to drop the pink, pick up the white in the center of your work, yarn over, and pull through that white stitch. Then you're going to drop the white, pick the pink back up, and then yarn over, pull through 2 loops until you get to the next color. So now I'm over to the white, so I'm going to drop my pink. I'm going to pick up the white from the center, and I'm just going to run it across the back of my work, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, and pull through 2 loops. So again, when you look at your work, you're going to have 3 white, 4 pink, 1 white, 4 pink, and 3 white. So now we're ready to do row 9. For row 9, we are working the top of our heart now. We are going to have 4 white stitches, 2 pink, 3 white, 2 pink, and 4 white. So let's begin row 9. So we want to have 4 white stitches. So again, this is one of 4. So with your white, knit stitch into the next stitch. That's 2. Knit stitch into the next stitch. That's 3. And then into the next stitch with the white, that's 4. Now we're going to work 2 pink stitches. So you're going to drop your white, pick up your pink, insert into the next vertical stitch, yarn over with the pink, and pull through. That's one of 2. Knit stitch into the next stitch with the pink, and that's our 2 pink. And now we need to do 3 white. So I'm going to drop my pink, pick up my white, and do 3 white stitches. Insert into the next stitch, yarn over with the white, and pull through. That's one of 3. Insert into the next stitch with the white, work your knit stitch, and that's 2. And then with your white, work a knit stitch into the next stitch, and that's 3. Now we're going to drop our white, pick up your pink, and we're going to work 2 pink stitches. Insert into the next stitch, yarn over with the pink, and pull through. Insert into the next stitch, yarn over with the pink, and pull through. So we have our 2 pink stitches, and now we're going to end with 4 white stitches. Insert into the next stitch. You're going to drop your pink, pick up your white on the left hand side. You're going to yarn over and pull through. With your white, work a knit stitch into the next vertical stitch using that knit stitch, and then into the next stitch. With the white, work your knit stitch. Then you're over at your edge stitch, and again we're going under the last vertical stitch and into the strand directly below that edge stitch. Yarn over and pull through both strands of yarn. So when you look at your work, you're going to have 4 white, 2 pink, 3 white, 2 pink, and 4 white. So now we're going to do our return pass and match our colors as we take off our loops. You're going to yarn over, pull through 1 loop only, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, and pull through 2 loops. So now we're at our pink, so we're going to drop our white, pick up our pink, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, and pull through 2 loops. So now we're over at our white, so we're going to drop the pink, pick up the white from the center of our work, yarn over, and pull through 2 loops. yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, and pull through 2 loops. So now we're over at our pink, so we're going to drop our white, pick up our pink, and I like to pull that a little bit to make it kind of uniform. And then I'm going to grab my pink and just let it lay on the back side of my work and yarn over and pull through 2 loops. Yarn over and pull through 2 loops. So now I'm over at my white, so I'm going to drop my pink, pick up my white from the center, then yarn over with the white and pull through 2 loops and work across until you have 1 loop remaining. So row 9 is finished. You're going to have a total of 4 white loops, 2 pink, 3 white, 2 pink, and 4 white. So now we are ready to begin row 10. So now for rows 10 and 11, we are just going to work even using our white, doing 2 solid rows of white, and I'll show you how to fasten off these colors. So again, for row 10, we're just going to work with our white across. So this counts as our first stitch. You're going to go into the next vertical stitch and we're working the knit stitch across. So I'm just going to work in each stitch across. And then this is where my pink is. So I'm going to work into the first pink stitch with the white. And then after I pull through and I have my loop, I'm just going to turn my work over. I'm going to grab the pink yarn and I'm just going to cut my pink. And then I just tie a double knot and pull it down tight. Not too tight, just get it down there. And then you can trim it even smaller. You don't need that long of an end because we're just going to leave our ends hang on the back. And then I'm just going to use my white on the right hand side and work all the way over until I get to my next ball of white yarn. And then I'll show you we're going to do the same thing. So insert into the next stitch and then just work the knit stitch across until you come to that ball of yarn where your next strand is. So I'm over where our next ball of yarn on the left is attached. So what I like to do is I like to look at the stitch, make sure it's pretty good and just even, and then I'm going to work into that first stitch where my yarn is attached. And then I'm going to turn my work over. Now make sure you don't get these mixed up. And then I'm going to fasten off the yarn on the left and then just tie it. And then we're just going to finish working in each stitch across with the white. And I'm over at the edge stitch, so we go into the last vertical stitch, into the strand of yarn below it on the back side, yarn over and pull through both strands of yarn. So then you should have a total of 15 white loops on your hook. So now we're going to do our return pass. You're going to yarn over, pull through 1 loop only, and then yarn over and pull through 2 loops until you have 1 loop remaining on your hook. So row 10 is finished, and now you can see the heart a little bit better. Now, I know this is really stiff. It's a little hard to work with, but the finished results are just so pretty. So we have 1 more row of the knit stitch to do, and then we'll do our finishing row. So for row 11, we're just going to work in the knit stitch in each stitch across. And again, this does like to roll. You just use your hands, push it down out of your way if you have to. And there's no hurry. You don't have to be fast. You can take your time. And again, this is stiff. It's a little hard to work with, but boy, did I like the results of this scrubby. And again, we're just going to work in each stitch across to the edge stitch. Over to the edge stitch, you're going to go under the last vertical stitch and into the strand of yarn below on the back side, yarn over and pull through 2 loops. And again, you should have 15 white loops on your hook. Now we're going to do our return pass. You're going to yarn over, pull through 1 loop, and then yarn over and pull through 2 loops. And you're just going to continue across until you have 1 loop on your hook. Row 11 is finished, and again, this is going to roll and be very stiff. So now what we want to do is we want to do a finishing row because we want the teardrop top. You want to have that top where it's very easy to see your stitches. So now we're going to work the knit stitch, but we're going to fasten off with each stitch. So it's kind of like the same technique, but you're taking all the loops off your hook. So let's go ahead and do our finishing row of row 12. So our finishing row is going to be done exactly like we done on the back piece of our scrubby. The first loop, again, you're going to lose 1 stitch because when you do your first stitch, you lose this edge stitch. So we're going to go into that next vertical stitch, insert just like you're doing the knit stitch, yarn over, pull through that stitch, and then you want to pull through the loop on your hook. Go to your next vertical stitch, insert like you're doing the knit stitch, yarn over, pull through that stitch, and pull through the loop on your hook. So again, when you look at your work, you're going to have 2 stitches and 3 vertical stitches. You lose this first stitch. So you're going to have a total of 14 stitches across the top when you're finished. Insert into the next stitch, just like you're doing the knit stitch, yarn over, pull through that stitch, and pull through the loop on your hook. And we're just going to continue working in this manner across to the end of the row. And because I am using scraps, because I made too many scrubbies and didn't have enough, I'm using my scraps to do this tutorial. So please forgive my knot right here. You should not have that knot when you're doing yours. Insert into the next stitch, just like you're doing the knit stitch, yarn over, pull through that stitch, and pull through the loop on your hook. Again, go into the next vertical stitch like you're doing the knit stitch, yarn over, pull through that stitch, and pull through the loop on your hook. And I'm just going to continue working across until I get to that last edge stitch. And because this is stiff and I'm moving my hands a lot, sorry this is moving all over the screen. You'll know what I mean when you're trying to make this. And now I'm over to my edge stitch. So again, we're going to go under the last vertical stitch and right into the strand of yarn on the back side below that stitch, yarn over and pull through both of those loops and through the loop on your hook. So row 12 is finished. So I'm going to fasten off. I'm going to yarn over and pull through, pull my hook out, grab and pull tight. So now what we're going to do, and putting the border on when you first start across the top, it will be a little bit of a struggle. It's going to want to fight you. And what we're going to do is this is just going to get pulled back. So you want to grab your scrubby back and your scrubby front, and let's join these two pieces together and put our border on our scrubby. So now we're getting ready to join these two pieces together. So you want to drop yourself down to a size I9 or 5.5 millimeter crochet hook. I already have my pink attached to my hook and I just used a double knot. So we want to take the front of our scrubby. You want the right side facing, and then you want to take the back of your scrubby and you want to find the end where you fastened off, and it should be on the top left hand corner. And then you just want to turn it on the wrong side so it's now on the right hand corner. And we're going to put the two pieces together, wrong sides facing. So this is the wrong side, this is the front, this is the right side. You want the wrong sides facing, so we're just going to take the wrong side and put it right on the top of the back. Wrong sides together, right sides out. We're going to go up to the very first stitch, and again, this wants to roll. So we just want to go into the first stitch of the top piece and the first stitch of the bottom piece, and then we're just going to slip stitch through both of those stitches and through the loop on our hook. And then I'm just going to pull this down out of the way. We're going to chain one, and then you're going to single crochet back into that first stitch. And pull up a little bit. Don't make it too tight, just pull it up and then pull it through. And you made your first single crochet. Insert into the next stitch and then match it to the stitch on the back and just squeeze it with your fingers and then just crochet a single crochet. And then match those stitches up. Again, the top will be the hardest, the rest will come easier. Insert into the next stitch, match it to the stitch on the back, squeeze those pieces together and work your single crochet. Insert into the next stitch, match it to the stitch on the back, and then squeeze it together and work your single crochet. So go ahead and continue, match those stitches, working one single crochet in each stitch across until you get to the next corner, and I'll meet you there. I'm over at my first corner of round one of our border. We're only putting one round around our scrubby, so you should have 14 stitches across the top. Now when I do my corner, I'm just doing a chain one. Now if you want a fuller, rounder corner, you can put 2 single crochet into the last stitch and 2 single crochet into the first stitch. Now I made all mine with a chain one going around the corner. It's all up to you of what you want. When I come over and these corner strings are hanging here, I'm just letting these ends hang because I'm just going to use a yarn needle and weave them in the inside of our scrubby. So now we're ready to go down the side. So again, we are matching those stitches. So if you look, you can see here's the top, here's the bottom, top, bottom. You can match those stitches right up. So chain one for the corner, and then you want to go into the first row end stitch, match it to the first row end stitch on the bottom piece, yarn over and work your single crochet. Then we're just going to work one single crochet in each stitch down to the next corner. So go to your next row end stitch, match it to the row end stitch on the bottom, work a single crochet. Go to your next row end stitch, match it to the row end stitch on the bottom, work your single crochet. And again, this is kind of stiff to work with. Let's do it one more time together. Go to your next row end stitch, and I go under both of those top 2 loops, match it to the next row end stitch on the bottom, work a single crochet. And you're going to repeat this down to your next corner, and I'll meet you there. I'm over at my next corner. You should have a total of 11 single crochet down the length of your dish scrubby, and you can see how it's starting to have that finished look. You're going to chain one for the corner And then you're just going to repeat what you've done across these two sides. You're going to single crochet in each stitch across, matching stitches, working through both thicknesses, work across the bottom, chain one at the corner, and then single crochet in each row end stitch down to the next corner and chain one. So go ahead and work around the remaining two sides, and I'll meet you at the end of round one. I'm over at the end of round one. We just worked one single crochet in each stitch across, and we're working through both thicknesses. You chained one at the corner, one single crochet in each row end stitch, chained one at the corner, and you repeated around the other two sides. So now I'm back over to the beginning, and again I'm leaving these ends just hang. I'm going to chain one for my corner, and then I'm going to come up to the top of this beginning single crochet. You're going to skip this chain one, insert into the top of that single crochet, yarn over, pull through that stitch, and pull through the loop on your hook. So I'm going to fasten off. Now I'm going to chain two, which will form a knot, but I'm going to try to pull that back down through my scrubby. I just do that because I don't want my border to come apart. So now I'm going to weave in my ends. So what I'm going to do is I just take a yarn needle, I thread my scrubby yarn through the eye of the needle, and then I'm just going to pull this knot. I'm going to go right down through this stitch here, and I want to try to pull that knot down through my work. So I just pull it down so you can't see it, and then I'm just going to try to run it down underneath and out through where these stitches are here, and then I pull it out, and then I'm going to take it back down through. This really likes to stick, and then I'm just going to bring it out through a few stitches down here, and then you got to kind of pull hard because it does like to stick. And then I'm just going to trim this end close, but make sure you don't cut your scrubby yarn, and then you just want to wiggle it around until it goes down inside your scrubby. And then just repeat that to all your ends around your scrubby. Just weave them down inside the center, pull your yarn needle out, clip it off, and then wiggle it so it's on the inside. So let me finish weaving in my ends, and I'll be back and show you all the finished scrubbies. So our scrubby is done. All my ends are weaved in. This is the back, and this is the front. And no matter what color you make it, it's really going to look adorable for Valentine's Day, or for just to show love of giving a gift to someone you know. So I think these would be also wonderful if you have someone who has tile in your bathroom shower and you just want something a little bit bigger to get that tile cleaned off. And you can also make these using two different colors. You can use one color for the heart and maybe choose a second color for your border if you have extra of the scrubby yarn. So if you enjoyed this crochet tutorial, please make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any of the crochet fun here on Creative Grandma's channel. So until next time, stay inspired and happy crocheting. Bye everyone.